Alright, haulers, hello and welcome back to Euro Truck Simulator 2. We are in Duisburg, whatever, I'm sorry. I'm having an absolute stroke tonight. And we are actually going to be driving the Mercedes Actros tonight. I do have the tuning pack in, so I have a couple little things that are from that. Other than that, it's a mostly stock truck. We do have an owned trailer on, which is the Krone Cooliner, I think is what it's called. And we're actually going to be going to pick up some yogurt that is heading up to Osnabrück. Just a quick early morning run. I believe it's 8 or 9 in the morning. So we're going to be doing that. So let's jump in the truck and hit the road. Alright, and we are in the truck. I do want to quickly mention the trailer, for whatever reason, looks black in the mirror. I think it's... I did the metallic paint to match the truck. I think I made it too dark on it, so it looks black from the side. It matches the truck if you're looking at it from any other angle than almost straight on. But it is what it is. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to get right moving here. I want to get my lights on here, so we'll put them on running. I have not driven this truck much. I guess technically I did park it here. So there is that. But other than that, I have not driven this truck much yet. When it first came out, I did drive it quite a bit, but I have not driven it since the tuning pack came out, except for recording a couple little cinematic things that were originally intended for my intros, my cinematic intros. I can't really see, so I'm trying to see here. But I never ended up using those. So that is what it is. So we're going to take this out for a nice drive today. Go kill a Mustang. Damn, dude. We're going to run down here and pick up this load of yogurt. And I kind of want to cover a couple of things, obviously. Uploads have not necessarily been the most regular, to say the least. I have not followed through on that. I've been really bad about it. I also went really wide on that corner. I forgot how short this wheelbase is. I'm used to driving the American truck. We're going to go ahead, we're going to pull in here and get our load. Alright, and that is the area we need to actually park in. I do want to mention, normally I run with the immersive symbols mod, because I don't like having the way they have it set up in-game. But that somehow broke with the most recent update, so I either need to find a new one, or wait for them to update it, so... Excuse me, do mind that. I'm drinking a Monster right now, trying to keep myself awake, so... That's, not necessarily agreeing with me, so we're gonna see if we can actually back this up. Like I was saying, uploads have not been the most consistent thing over the last couple of weeks. I kind of want to talk about that. Obviously, I don't want to spend too much time on that, because that's not why I'm making this video. I want to kind of cover some other funny stuff that has come from it. I should probably put it in reverse if I want to go backwards, right? We're going to try and slowly make our way in here so that we can park up and get loaded. I'm going to focus here real quick because it has been quite a while. And I am not used to these short wheelbase trailers. I have very much done more trucking on American Truck Sim lately, which is something else I also want to kind of cover here. I would probably have to re-line up here, but we're going to just take that as it is. We're just going to get loaded, and that way we can get on our way. Alright, a couple hours later. If you're wondering why I'm actually straight now, I may or may not have accidentally disconnected the trailer and had to reattach and line up. So, sticking with my genius here today. Definitely been an interesting one. Just got done recording Wreckfest, so that's gonna hopefully come out the day before this video. And just goes to show, typically I'll record one or two at once, make the most of it, because it's so much easier to record at the same time and then just sit back later and edit everything together. Whoops, curb hopping a little bit. But I say that, having barely posted lately. And I really kind of want to cover that real quick. What do we have for space here? We're good. We're going to go before this guy comes. I forgot I don't have to go across. It's a nice short trailer. I'm going to go ahead and move the mic real quick. So if you do hear it moving around, I do apologize. But yeah, so part of the reason I haven't been uploading, obviously there's no real excuse. Like, I'm not trying to make excuses here. But I have had... The winter time for me is not a good time. It's been really rough, lacking in motivation. When I have the motivation, I run into all kinds of technical difficulties. I'm trying really hard not to force myself to record, because at the end of the day, if I force myself to record a video, it's not the quality I want it to be. It's just going to be kind of crappy, and I don't want to be that. That's not why I make videos, and that's just not how I want to do it. So that's been a big issue, along with some IRL stuff that I've been dealing with, and trying to kind of get caught up on just too much. I've just been playing a constant game of catch up. and I'm not quite done yet. I really just honestly need summer to get here. But yeah, that's really that. I'm working really hard to get back to a normal schedule, like I said, in Discord, which you can find in the description. Best place to hear all the little updates and behind the scenes. I'm trying really, really hard. Ooh, brakes are very unfriendly. I think we're good here. Gotta really press on the brakes. Did not want to stop me there. But I'm right now aiming for every other day at the least, I guess. I'm trying really hard not to skip 2 days in a row. If I need to skip a day, I want to have the ability to do that, but I really also need to stick with uploading. Part of the reason I say that, I recently posted a mod review. I don't ever do that. It was my first time doing it. It's something I've wanted to do for a long time, and it was something I put a lot of hard work and effort into, at least in my opinion, and I was really proud of it. There's little things in there that I wanted to fix, but at the end of the day, it took me a couple of days extra to make that one video, and it was the worst performing video I've had in months, and it's probably because it took me 3 or 4 days to actually make it, meaning there was I think almost a week's gap between that upload and the previous one, which YouTube doesn't like. And being as small as I am, I really need that kind of stuff to spread the word. And so I think I kind of screwed myself on that front, and I don't think it's what's appealing. If you guys want to see more of it, by all means let me know, but as of this moment in time, it's probably not something I'm ever going to do again. Unless I really, really find something, because for the amount of work and stuff I put into it, it's just not worth it. Especially when, you know, to say I'm not trying to grow a little bit would be a lie. Obviously, that is kind of the point of posting videos. You know, obviously it's a hobby, first and foremost, but I would love to make this a career. I'd love to make this more than just that. So that's kind of my thing. I was really proud of that video. It was the first time I've really flexed my cinematic skills on my channel. I don't normally get to do that outside of my intros, and I wanted to do that because, you know, every channel has one thing that sets them apart from everyone else. And my intros, my cinematic intros are like, you know, they're me. They're the most me thing that I think I do, because, you know, it allows me to create cinematics that I really enjoy. It allows me to try and find a way to grab people's attention, and I was one of those people where I grew up watching YouTube, and every YouTube video had an intro of some kind. A lot of them still do. There are a lot of people that have started to get rid of them, but I don't want to let that die. I really don't. I mean, outros too. Outros started to die, and I don't want to let that go. I really love doing that. You know, it's probably a nostalgia thing more than anything. I remember, you know, there's a lot of people I watch right now that, you know, their outro kicks on. I do kind of feel kind of sad because it's the end of the video. It's the end of another, you know, good amount of time enjoying something, and I really don't want to let stuff like that die and be forgotten on YouTube. Intros and outros are something I just really like. And speaking of that, one other thing that's going on that I'm considering working on, I've had friends tell me, you know, go ahead and do it, is SCS. They did a while back a competition for the Baltic DLCs that came out that was a cinematic competition, so basically showing off one of those areas. They're doing one right now for, I believe it was Oregon, Washington, and somewhere else. I think the Oregon DLC was like one of their best trailers I've seen yet, so I really don't want to do that. But I am considering entering the contest using another DLC, so keep an eye out for that. If I do it, I'll probably post it on socials and Discord. I probably won't mention it in a video other than this, but do keep that in mind. And yeah, so there's that. One other reason too I should mention that I haven't been doing a lot of videos is I've been really pressing into streaming. I spent all of the summer of 2016 streaming, got literally nowhere. It was, you know, all my friends that were watching, it was no one else, because I just didn't have quality content at that point in time. Uh-oh. Is this a detour? Are we getting detoured? Oh, man. Oh, and they won't reroute us around the shoulder either, which sucks. Alright, well, I guess we're gonna have to go a different way. That's fun. But, you know, like I said, I've been really trying to push into streaming again. I really love streaming. The interaction is on another level. Oh, yeah, we can come down and turn around. Hell yeah. Alright, yeah, we're gonna cheat the system. Perfect. Unless they've got the ramp blocked, in which case we're gonna really screw ourselves. I should have probably looked, shouldn't I? Gonna make sure we slow down here. That tree's in like the worst spot. I think we're okay. But yeah, with streaming, I'm doing a lot of that. It's really good too, streaming, because things like Farm Sim, I do a lot on Farm Sim that goes unseen, and it's a perfect way to kind of take all the stuff that goes unseen and use it in a way, you know, kind of repurpose trash. I don't want to say trash, but at the end of the day, you know, the reason it goes unseen is because it's not really a major part of those videos. I put a lot of effort into those videos, and you know, that's why. We're gonna go ahead. I want to make sure I get out of here nice and safely, so I'm gonna be quiet for a second. Actually, you know what? We'll be okay once traffic gets going here. I'm gonna wait for that guy just because there's not really enough of a gap, if you ask me. As soon as he gets by, we will go in here. And there we go. But yeah, and actually, my streams have been doing really good for the size of all of my content and stuff. Like, I am by no means a professional streamer or a large streamer or a large content creator in general, but for what it is, my streams have been doing really well. I've got a lot of people in the community that have been coming out, and fun fact, my community has decided that I am man prego. Not because they've seen that I'm fat, which, you know, I've got a beer belly, you know, whatever, but they've just decided that I'm man prego. So, in case you missed that, there is that. That's what I'm up against now, which is kind of funny. But, is what it is. And, that's just... I'm hoping at some point they'll forget it. This is probably gonna make it so they don't, but... crossing my fingers, forget it. So, if you happen to pop into my chat, which you can find me at twitch.tv/LonghaulerGMG, if you happen to pop in a stream and you see them calling me pregnant or whatever, that's why. It's weird. It is very weird, but they refuse to not acknowledge it, or to get rid of it, I guess. So, there is that. But, you know what, I've been really enjoying streaming. It's been really nice to get back to it. Ooh, one thing I do want to mention too is one thing that I've wanted to do for a long time is merch. I actually need to make sure I make this turn and not flip the truck. Merch is something that I've wanted to do outside of, you know, most content creators will do merch just as, you know, with their logo on it or with stuff like that. I want to get away from that, honestly. See anyone coming, so we're just gonna go make our way onto the highway here. This is obviously not the most legit driving right now, but then we're already here, actually. We might have to pick up another load then and see where that takes us. But for me, merch goes above and beyond just your regular everyday, you know, creator stuff. I've wanted to do t-shirts and merch designs for a long time, and I've actually just recently launched a merch store. I am kind of starting to switch over to Stream Elements as kind of my go-to platform for streaming and that stuff. And they just launched a pilot program for merch on their site. And I'm starting to kind of develop a hatred for Streamlabs and the way they do things. And since it is obviously entirely free on Stream Elements now, if you haven't heard, I have actually set up a merch site, so you can actually go check that out. I'm not going to put that in my descriptions. If you want to find that, you can find that in my Discord and access it that way. But there is that, so I did start that up too as well, so that's kind of cool. I do have, obviously, the logo designs, but I do have custom designs, and the custom design is actually a tornado logo. And those of you that have been around since the original days will know that that tornado logo used to belong to my storm chasing team, which I disbanded, I think this year, it would have been this last year, just because I don't have the time and effort to put into it anymore. Obviously, I've been focusing a lot on the design, the graphic design stuff, trying to run that business, and, ooh, voice crack, there it was. How long was that? And it's taken a lot out of me, running all of that stuff, and as much as I want to run my team and stuff, it doesn't make sense. It's not something I'm going to spend the rest of my life doing. I will spend the rest of my life chasing, don't get me wrong, but it's not my career, it's a hobby, and so there was that. So I took that logo, and I've decided that I'm going to start repurposing it into a merch design, because I was really, really proud of it. I thought it was a really cool design. It was something that I would have loved to have on a shirt. We're going to find out which dock they want us at here, so let's go ahead and do that. Oh, they don't want us actually to a dock at all. We're going to go ahead and pull up right here and wait to be unloaded. So we'll come up along this side, see if we can't get her parked. But yeah, so if you're into storm chasing, that kind of stuff, definitely check out the store. Very cool design, if you ask me. I really, really was proud of it. I am disappointed that I got rid of my storm chasing team. I'll throw in a video. I'm not just saying that I'm a storm chaser. I do have experience in doing it. I was Skywarn. I did take a Skywarn class and all that stuff. Like, I am actually trained if in that sense. It's all volunteer, but, you know, I do have experience with it on a very minor scale, obviously, being from Maine. We have, like, 2 tornadoes a year, and they're very little, like, eensy-weensy little things, so I don't have that experience, but basically other types of weather, every other type of weather and severe storms I've got experience with, so there is that too. I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna unload real quick and then go from there. Alright, it is now a little bit past 2. We have actually gotten a load from the same company. We just picked up some canned pork, so we're gonna be heading out to Hanover to take that over real quick. We're gonna go ahead and wait for this cop. As soon as this cop goes by, we will roll out here. Gonna have to wait for this BMW. Try and make it across really quick. Perfect. Oh, no, we are actually turning right. But yeah, a lot of guys don't really talk about storm chasing much here on YouTube. People that I've followed for a long time do, people like Jeff. He doesn't really talk about it. I do think he is a weather fan. I think I've had conversations with him on Twitter about it. Obviously, he has no idea who I am. I am about as close to knowing him in person without actually knowing him. I'm heavily involved in the OCRP community. I'm not in OCRP, which is another thing that doesn't really help, but Jeff is a huge part of why I do this. Not really the storm chasing thing. The storm chasing started before I actually found his content. That was something that I went, like, I was funny as a kid because, oops, I also realized I have my turn signal on when I'm actually going straight across. I don't know if you're supposed to do this either, but we're gonna do it. But I was actually funny as a kid because, and I kid you not, no pun intended, when I was younger, I was the kind of kid that anytime a storm came through, I was the one that would, like, turn all the lights on, hide somewhere. Like, I absolutely hated it. I could not stand it. I would panic. I would freak out. You know, I'm a little kid. I don't quite understand it yet. But it was, like, terrifying to me. And about age 8, I don't know why, something clicked in my head. And I went from this hatred of severe weather to being the kid that my mom was always yelling at me to get inside when it was, you know, stuff was going on or it was thundering out. Because I was always trying to get pictures or get video. I think that was part of it was, you know, I fell into a love for photography and stuff, and I think I was also watching Storm Chasers, the show at that point in time. And I didn't know who any of these people were. I came to have a love for all of them. Sean Casey and the Twist X team and all those guys. Reed Timmer, crazy as hell, still is. Gotta love the man. But, you know, I really found my passion for it and wanted to chase that for a long time. Again, no pun intended. I wanted to go into meteorology as a career. I was looking at Linden in, I think it was Vermont, Linden State, something like that, as college. Obviously, University of Oklahoma is the place to be, but, you know, I wanted to do something smaller. As much as I like University of Oklahoma, I think it was too much for me. But at the end of it, I just decided not to go to college. I decided I needed a break, went straight into working, you know, full-time plus, and kind of gave up on the meteorology career. And I think a lot of that is because I don't want to be stuck behind a desk in an office somewhere working for the National Weather Service. Trust me, don't get me wrong, I'd love to. If I was to be in meteorology, I'd want to be out on the front lines, chasing storms, doing that kind of stuff. And the workup to get to that as a professional is a lot. You have, like, most of the people that are out chasing that are, like, actual professionals are PhD, you know, that level of skill, doctors, or doctorates, I guess, is what it would be. And, I don't want to go for that. That's not what I want to spend the rest of my life doing. You know, obviously I'll be lucky if I make it past like 40, I guess, if I'm honest, but you know, it's just not, it wasn't for me. And, so there was that. And, you know, as a hobbyist, you know, as a photographer or a freelancer or stuff like that, it's a little bit easier to get into chasing. I mean, you know, there are storms during the year, like once or twice a year you'll get storms where, you know, you'll get multiple days of almost guaranteed tornadoes where everyone and their mother's out chasing for no reason. They shouldn't be on the roads, they shouldn't be out, and you know, everyone's out doing it, even people that are just, you know, out for shits and giggles, not people who are actually even just hobbyists. And you know, it goes to show that you can do it without having to have a career in it. I mean, for me, the inspiration when I originally started, you know, with photography and stuff is there's money to be made, but that's how you make it a viable career. Just like with YouTube, the way you make it a viable career is by diversifying, you know, things like merch or things like advertising or stuff like that. The equivalent to that with storm chasing for people who aren't professionals and don't get salaries and stuff like that are photography and videography. They sell that to the broadcasting companies, so the news station. So anytime you see something on the news, more often than not, it was paid for. The problem with that is now everyone has a smartphone and everyone can record, so people are always willing to throw in videos for free. I did this for a while. I was actually a spotter for a local news team up here, and I would actually go out. They actually called me a couple of times to cover storms, and I went out and I would, you know, when there was flooding or rivers, I would go out and videotape the rivers or, you know, things like that and send the footage in, and I made it on the news a few times. And, you know, that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed doing that, but it takes a lot. It really does. And I did it for free. You know, I did it for the fun of it. I didn't make any money from it, anything like that. And I just don't have the time. I don't have the time anymore. I would love to. You know, I had my own weather station. I was writing reports every day, sending them into the weather service so they would have local reports for all the different towns. I was just covering my town where I was living, you know, things like that. If you're interested in that kind of stuff, check with your National Weather Service, like your local one. And, you know, they'll set you all up with everything you need. Obviously, their primary thing is just be safe. Don't go out doing stupid stuff. You know, leave it to the professionals, I guess. But they're more than willing to say, hey, if you have a weather station, if you really like weather, something as simple as weather reports 2 or 3 times a day, emailing them to the National Weather Service or emailing them to your local news station. If you get in contact with their meteorologist, they love that because it gives them much easier access to certain information. And so, you know, there is that. So definitely, if you're interested in it, check that out. Obviously, don't go out in the middle of a thunderstorm or tornado warned storm just for shits and giggles. Don't be that guy, please. You know, if you're at least somewhat trained, by all means. If you're knowledgeable, by all means. But, you know, don't do that. Obviously, at some point when I have the time and the money, if I ever have the money, something I would love to do and something I'd love to incorporate into the channel is I really, really want to build a truck that is specifically for chasing. So with protection from hail and stuff like that, but with actual gear on it so we can actually take measurements. I actually worked with a company called Campbell Scientific, and they do a lot of, you know, weather instruments, stuff like that. A lot of the stuff you'll actually see, so everything from atmospheric pressure to relative humidity, wind speed. They have multiple different types of wind speed, so you've got anemometers and then the like the regular like disc-shaped ones. I don't remember what they're called, but they don't actually. I think they're infrared. I don't want to say infrared. It's a different kind of sensor, but you know that stuff's not cheap. You know, the professional grade instruments are, you know, for a full kit to deck out a truck would have been $15,000 in just weather instrument. That's already like a little under half the cost of a truck on its own, let alone, you know, anything else. So definitely not a cheap hobby. But I think that's enough storm talk. If you guys are interested in it, by all means, pop into my Discord. Let's have a talk. You know, let's cover some of that stuff. What do you guys have for experience? What is your favorite type of weather? That sort of thing. Let me know. And I would love to hear it. But yeah, there's a little bit of my background. I don't know if I've talked about it before. Probably talk about it again at some point. People are always curious. But I'm by no means a professional. I am a hobbyist and just a weather nerd at heart. And, you know, yeah, and that's just where it is, I guess. But yeah, obviously disappointed that I kind of had to shut down the Storm team. It just didn't make any sense anymore. And as much as I'd love to come back to it, at the end of the day, it's an adventure that just had to come to an end that is more of a challenge now than it is rewarding to run. And so, you know, that's just how the world works sometimes, and you just gotta take it as it comes. But yeah, so that's gonna be it for the storm. Can you, moron, go? Once again, the stupid ass AI. Alright, we're gonna turn in here. We'll make sure no one's on my left side here, because we got a spinner wide. We'll go ahead and hook up. If you're squeaking, I keep accidentally spinning my chair and hitting my shifter. So, sorry about that. We're gonna go out and around and spin around to do this. But yeah, so, like I said, let me know what you guys' experiences are with weather. What's your favorite type of weather? That sort of thing. Obviously, like I said, living in the Northeast, we just don't have much. I was just making do with what I had access to. I'm going out to the plains someday. It's gonna happen. I'm going out to Tornado Alley or to Dixie Alley. I am gonna see some tornadoes. It's gonna happen. And I do want to say this too. There's often some talk about glorifying this kind of stuff. And for storm chasers, it's not about glorifying it, because when you're storm chasing, the first thought in the back of your mind is, I just hope no one gets hurt today, because you know there's a very, very big chance that, you know, things like that can happen. There have been some really devastating storms of late for very obvious reasons, I guess, to some people. That I'm not going to get into that, but there have been some really, really devastating storms lately. I mean, just a few years ago we lost I was talking about this on stream with someone the other day. We lost the Twist-X team, you know, or some of them at least, the biggest guys in it, Tim Samaras and those guys. And, you know, those guys were not known for being reckless. These guys were known for being some of the safest in the, I guess, industry. And the fact that even they ended up in a situation like that goes to show just how dangerous it is. And, you know, it is always on your mind that something can and something typically will go wrong. So you just have to be careful. So I just want to make sure that that's clear. I'm not trying to glorify this. You know, tornadoes are very much a horrific thing for a lot of people. You know, for some people, it's forcing them to have to restart their lives, basically, if they have them after it, you know? So just keep that in mind. It's obviously always in the back of your head when you're chasing and that, but some people don't really seem to understand that. But I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to drop this, or I'm not going to drop the trailer, it is my trailer. I'm going to go ahead and let them unload, and then we'll come back in just a second. Alright, we're back. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to finish out this video in the truck, in the cab, I should say, not outside. But yeah, I think that was a good bunch of coverage. Obviously, if you guys want to hear more or have any questions, pop into my Discord, pop into Twitch, that sort of thing. One thing I want to make sure I get out of the way before I end this video, I say get out of the way because I keep forgetting it, not because I just don't want to do it. I've actually had Patreon supporters that have been deserving of a shout-out as part of your reward. If you're a supporter on Patreon, you actually get a shout-out at the end of each video. And I had actually, like I've said before, being the quote-unquote professional that I am, I've actually forgotten to do that for 3 months because I've actually had someone in that tier. And that tier would be the third tier, which is the $10 tier, Pavement Pounders. And that is Squint, WX Squint. She has been a huge supporter of late. I've said it before in other videos. I'm going to say it again because, like I said, she's just been massive in helping me keep on a straight path with this and keeping my head together, even just outside of supporting me. And so I owe her a lot for that. So if you want to support me, stuff like that, Patreon, you can find it in the description. If you support me at tier 3, you get a shout out in the video and your name on the screen at the end, obviously, of every of every video. But yeah, so there is that. That is going to do it for today. If you guys enjoyed the video, go ahead and leave a like. If you didn't, you know what to do. If you really liked it, please consider subscribing, and you can always hit that notification bell to get notified every single time I upload. In my description below, you can find links to my Discord if you'd like to join and hang out with the crew, my Patreon, as previously mentioned, and you can find me on social media at LonghaulerGMG on Snapchat, Twitter, Twitch, and Instagram. And as always, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.